It's seriously this sad in Russia?
Yes.
I think part of actually of my invulnerability is of course that I break this, I behave not in the way they expect.
They don't like when I point at them.
Very few people.
The persons we see here, I see a flag of Lenin, so these are the communists?
These are left-wingers, including left-wing LGBT, rainbow.
Yeah, because I see a rainbow flag as well, indeed. What are they saying?
Freedom to political prisoners. You know, those that are officers, really professional police officers, they would actually, no, they completely brainwashed. They believe in what they're told. Those at the lower levels who just doing this some sort of work just to earn money, you know, intermittently between other jobs, you know, waiting for a better job, they will often sympathise and actually say, you know, once we've done with this job, we'll join you as protesters.
Can that give problems then? If for example, is it possible to become a police officer in future if you were seen as an activist, or
I think not. It's possible vice versa. Though protesters will actually, opposition will suspect you of various things, but there are cases when, you know, people who used to work for the government become opposition, but not vice versa. Sometimes if police officers, low-ranking police officers, are asked, you know, to say, to testify against some opposition member, you know, and he refuses to tell lies, and he might be fired and have sorts of problems. And when he says, I will not, you know, I will not say that he had done this because he didn't do this.
So at the end of the march, everyone directly has to leave as well. Do the police officially ask for this, or is it just that if you don't, they don't ask and just...
They will first ask you, then they will repeat this, and if you don't do that, they might start dispersing you, depending what orders they get. You know, if somebody starts protesting, like sitting down, saying we won't leave here, they might start dispersing and arresting people.
Yeah. One of the biggest fears of the Russian authorities is that they can pick you anonymous. So even if you have nothing to do with it,
yes,
and you're on the wrong place, on the wrong moment.
Well, that's what happened with Bolotnaya, because at least half of the people there were not politically involved in any way. They were just grabbed randomly, and this was part of their campaign to intimidate very ordinary people who are not politically motivated, just come to protest as regular citizens, just to show them that, you know, anyone, any random person can become a prisoner because you just come to such events because you support the opposition. And this, so they had their quarter, you know, political activists, a quarter of very ordinary people. And so it can happen, but it rarely happens sanctioned events, which unless violence starts, you know, breaks out. Because well, yes, because see, there's a society with lots of hang-ups, lots of myths, lots of suppression, practically no history of, you know, personal freedom, if you see what I mean, of personal, you know, responsibility, of making your own decisions. So everybody has a lot of rubbish in their heads, and everybody's afraid of lots of things which, you know, as Margaret Thatcher used to put it, 90% of what you fear will never happen. I think part of actually of my invulnerability is, of course, that I break this. I behave not in the way they expect. You know, they expect you to fear, they expect you to flee, they expect you to do this and that, and then when you do something very different, they don't know what to do. They're absolutely, you know, out of depth there.
Is that also what you then see indeed by the authorities, that because of you, because you don't flee, because I behave and absolutely, you know, they're accustomed to, you know, authority, they're accustomed to people obey, you know, elders, men, and when you behave in a very different way, they don't know what levers to use because they were brought up like that. They brought up their children, you know. When you meet somebody who acts according to a different program, then they lost. And also, you know, it's like, again, I said the biggest fear is not when you're violent towards them. The biggest fear I see in their eyes when I give out sweets to them, you know, I try to kiss them because they don't understand. To give them a kind of a laugh.
Something very wrong here. She's, you know, she's conspiring.
But don't they feel humiliated then as well? Because then, even if it's totally correct what you do, it's also that you probably will let them feel very small.
Yes, I think that's humiliation, that's the source of fear. Because again, when a person is inwardly free, it's very hard to curb them or to do something about them.
Уважаемые граждане, метро, проход открыт по левой и правой стороны. Желающие могут пройти по тротуару на проспект Сахарова. Уважаемые граждане, вход в метро по левой и правой стороны открыт. Желающие могут пройти на проспект Сахарова по тротуарам.
They just say who's in the background here and walking away now.
They're no longer in our background. They are anti-extremist police department that's known for lots of suppression, for lots of intimidation, and for criminal acts, for arbitrary arrests, and they also rumoured to have attacked people, which rumours that they partly themselves keep up in order to intimidate people, but actually they have really bad reputation. And the one I was talking about is a universally demonic figure for any opposition person, because he is not afraid of anything. He is a former bandit, so he continues to behave like a bandit and speak like a bandit.
And he's supported by the government.
Oh yeah, he's made a wonderful career at the anti-extremist police, because he's unscrupled. You know, he's prepared to do anything. He's not afraid of anything, and he doesn't think about what's going to come. If the power changes, you know, he's not afraid. afraid.
And you told that he is responsible for the arrest of...
Nikolai, he's responsible for the vast majority of arrests because he intimidated Nikolai Kavkaz's mother. She's afraid of him now because he broke into their flat. I mean, the rest were behaving properly like police officers, but he was abusing, he was threatening with killing her son, you know, with planting drugs. Well, I mean, he's got always the same old story and works with young people. And I always keep telling them when he tries to tell you, remember that killed activist, that was me. And he usually says, do you know who killed that man? And I will say the right answer, we know that it's not you, so it's not going to work.
But you're not afraid that he will break in your apartment or whatever because...
I have invited him to my apartment. I said I dream of him every night. Why don't he come to my apartment?
But this, well, I don't know if you can call it sarcastic attitude. How do they respond on it?
They petrified and they lost because they don't know how to respond to this. They know how to respond to violence. They know how to respond to fear, but they don't know what to do when people make fun of them because they have not got enough brain to make fun of you in return. So they realize they're not on the par with me and that I'm smarter even. And that really makes them very frightened because they also feel like you have some, if you dare speak like that to them, that means you have some power over them, which they don't realize. And so that makes them very nervous.
Уважаемые граждане, вход в метро слева-справа по ходу вашего движения. Для желающих проход на Сахарова по тротуарам открыт.
Love is all we need. 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 Все, что нам нужно, это любовь на самом деле.
So this guy, is he asking now in Russian something, or?
Yeah. Well, why she stay here and about it, and he's interested.
How it is in practice to have freedom of speech in Russia?
It's badly.
It's badly. What's your opinion about it?
What my opinion is that the people are in jail for nothing.
No, the demonstration is about supporting
the change of regime.
The demonstration is about supporting political prisoners who were arrested last year on the 6th May on a huge demonstration in Moscow after the elections. There was a demonstration against falsified elections in Russia, and there was a huge demonstration. People were demonstrated, and more than 20 people now on the prison bench, as we call it. And I guess from 1 year till 3 years, something like this. It depends on the case. Why? That's what I said, because they were demonstrating, and from the point of view of court, they were beaten the police. But it's not true. They did not do it because there are many videotapes, and all those guys who are sitting now on the prison bench, no evidence against them that they were beating somebody, especially police guys.
But then how about the rule that in court you are innocent till proven guilty?
Yes, we have this rule, but who cares about it?
It's seriously this said in Russia?
Yes.
Now I see, because you are with many persons here, why is there only one person standing in your main street?
One there and one there. We are not allowed to stand closer than 50 meters because we have a law that it's prohibited to demonstrate closer than 50 meters to each other, because we did not negotiate and this street action with authorities, and if you not do it, you're allowed to be just staying alone with a banner or whatever and express your opinion on the situation. But you're not allowed to be 2, 3 or 4, doesn't matter. For example, if I'll stand with this guy now, the police guy will come and say that you're not allowed to stand together because you're allowed to be only one. They just aware me, and if I continue staying there, we'll together with this guy will be detained.
And you then will be detained for an illegal demonstration?
Yes, it's the article number 20.2, illegal demonstrating in public places.
And what will be the punishment for this?
3 hours, at least 3 hours in custody, and then depends on court, depends on court decision, but usually it's just a fee for 1,000 rubles.
1,000 rubles?
Yeah, it's not
too much.
No, sorry. We have a new law. At least 15,000 rubles till 25,000 rubles.
Because 1,000 rubles
yes,
is only 16 euro.
1,000 rubles were 1 year ago, but now we have a new law. She asks, don't move, stand on one place if you don't want to be detained. And this is a picture of one of the guys who was detained on the 6th May of 2012.
And he is still in prison?
Yes, he's still in prison.
But if you ask permission to the government to have this demonstration, will they allow it?
It depends. It depends on place. For example, if you say that you want to demonstrate here by 10 people, for example, on the topic of political prisoners, for 90% they said no. They can say you can demonstrate, but somewhere, for example, where no people at all. Yeah. But we do not like to demonstrate on suburbs or something like this. We want to demonstrate on those places where people are going, because we want to raise an awareness on this situation.
How do people react in general in the streets? Because many people are just passing, but I see sometimes that people are standing.
Asking, and if at least 10 people after this street action understand what's happening and what's the reason, I think that is more or less success.
That's the 31st day of the month, and on those months which have this day, they protest against, in favour of freedom of speech, which is Article 31 in the Russian Constitution.
And still, because as you see, there's a lot of press here.
Yes, there's much more press, many more police, and actually many more press representatives and police officers than actual protesters. It's very hard to find a real protester here.
But does it make any change then now? Because
no,
with all the media here...
No, it's just for fun. It's just everybody makes stakes how long they're going to last.
Вы хоть закон о полиции выполняйте, граждане. О, если уж Конституцию забыли.
Я на Триумфальной. Poster speaking about a late Alexei Davidov, who was an LGBT activist and opposition activist, and he died at the end of September. And this poster alleges that the cause of his death and illness was that he had his arm fractured by through police brutality 2 years back, and those police officers whose names are mentioned here were never punished. And that's how they also show to those men who did this, probably not even on staff with the police anymore, that they still remember their names and they still remember who they are, you know, and they're not going to forget. Which maybe doesn't make much difference because it's only these people who are not going to forget, but still, you know, their names are known.
И вы будете сидеть вместе с этой властью, на своей здесь стоять. Так что надо выполнять законы.
А, ты уже в Турции же попробовала. Ну, мне тоже все потихоньку вроде стукает, и я скоро двинусь к дому. Надеюсь.
Zoals je ziet wordt nu het plein schoongeveegd. Op een manier dat journalisten weg moeten.
Уважаемые граждане, не задерживайтесь, не мешаем проходу других граждан.
Алло. Ну да, вот сейчас.
De demonstratie van vandaag was klein. Wat wel opvalt is dat de hoeveelheid politie echt in geen verhouding staat. Misschien zijn er 8 demonstranten wel geteld. En wat dan vooral ook opvalt is de FSB, de geheime politie. En na de demonstratie afgelopen zondag om politieke gevangenen vrij te laten en op stap met een activiste die dit al een tijdje doet, leer je ze kennen, leer je ze zien. Het valt op hoe vaak je zelf op de foto wordt gezet. Maar daarnaast ook de poging om niet te intimideren. Ik zag het daarnet zelf ook. Dat ik even met Margaret nog stond na te praten. We glimlachten naar de jongens die ons op de foto zetten. Kwamen er letterlijk beelden, ik heb je in de gaten, kill je en ik breek je. En niet één keer en niet grappenderwijs, maar het is bittere ernst voor die mannen. Natuurlijk zullen ze het niet in het echt gaan doen. Althans, dat is wat Margaret me uitlegde ook. Omdat deze jongens die hier staan echt niet de top van de FSB zijn. Maar graag even hun macht willen laten zien in deze macho cultuur. En dat zij uiteindelijk de macht in handen hebben en niet de activisten.
They don't like when I point at them.
Really professional police officers, they would actually, no, they completely brainwashed. They believe in what they're told. Those at the lower levels who just doing this some sort of work just to earn money, you know, intermittently between other jobs, you know, waiting for a better job, they will often sympathise and actually say, you know, once we've done with this job, we'll join you as protesters.
Can that give problems then? If for example, is it possible to become a police officer in future if you were seen as an activist, or it's...
I think not. It's possible vice versa. Though protesters will actually, opposition will suspect you of various things, but there are cases when people who used to work for the government become opposition, but not vice versa. Sometimes with police officers, low-ranking police officers.
The persons we see here, I see a flag of Lenin, so these are the communists?
These are left-wingers, including left-wing LGBT, rainbow.
Yeah, because I see a rainbow flag as well, indeed. What are they saying?
Freedom to political prisoners. Those that are officers are asked, to say, to testify against some opposition member, and he refuses to tell lies, and he might be fired and have sorts of problems. And when he says, I will not, I will not say that he had done this because he didn't do this.
It's seriously this sad in Russia?
Yes.
I think part of my invulnerability is, of course, that I break this. I behave not in the way they expect.